Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
And it's all credit to the manager, and it's all credit to the fans, and it's all credit to the lads. And it's all credit to the manager and the fans and the lads. And the manager done great, and the fans done great, and the lads done great. And who done great? The manager and the fans and the lads. I don't know how he keeps it up. Fierce 70-mile-an-hour winds are going to batter the UK for days. Forecasters have warned.
Warning, warning.
Travel chaos caused by Storm Eunice is the Eunice. EU nice. That's how it's spelled. I've only just noticed that. EU nice. Not EU, not nice. Travel chaos caused by Storm EU Nice is set to continue in the coming days as parts of England are set to be hit by up to 8 inches of snow this weekend. Snow?
Oh, no.
And forecasters have warned that fierce winds of up to 70 mile an hour are set to sweep into the UK in the coming days. The official spokesmodel of the Meteorological Office, Greg, said,
"Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street."
He said we will see a slight easing in the wind over the evening, but it's not long before the winds pick up again tomorrow and lead to another windy day across the UK. The Met Office has issued yellow weather warnings for wind covering most of the UK on Sunday and Monday, after northern England faced blizzard-like conditions this afternoon. Meanwhile, around 250,000 people are still without power.
What?
That's not funny. More than 430 flights were cancelled or diverted, and London City Airport was closed for most of the day. The roof of the O2 in Greenwich tore apart, trees were ripped up, debris was sent flying, shoppers were blown over, the spire of St Thomas's Church in Wells in Somerset came crashing to earth like that scene in The Omen. As the clean-up effort gets underway, the Association of British Insurers warned that previous storms are similar to EU Nice, cost around £360 million in repairs. Look at the small print, you're not covered. Business and Energy Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng said,
and two, 6 million.
Yeah, he just loves numbers. He actually tweeted, Storm Eustace update, 1.2 million customers have had power restored, 190,000 are off supply, 8,000 field staff and engineers are working day and night to restore power.
And one,
yes,
two,
3,
11.
Oh. Does that look like numbers or what?
Yes.
I certainly hope his horses stayed warm. Can we buy you some blankets? On us. No charge. For free. Bill it to the taxpayer. We'd love to help. Some messages and such from last night. Shuvik texted, there should be a public register of properties in London and their owners. Oligarchs from the former Soviet Union should not keep money in British banks or own football clubs. Banks don't do enough due diligence with investors, he says. That is completely correct in every respect. But what do they care? Banks don't care. It's all about the money, honey. And people think, well, they haven't learned their lesson because they keep getting fined all the time for, it turns out that they've been laundering money for Mexican drug cartels. Yeah, there's a big light going off. What does that mean?
Yeah, what do you want to start with?
Hey,
George?
psst. Hey, psst. There's a big light going off. What does that mean?
They're investigating something.
Who are?
The security.
Oh. Do they always light up the building when they're investigating something? It's okay, everybody. There's nothing to be alarmed about. Where was I? Oh, yeah, the banks. Yeah, people say, well, they haven't learned their lesson, have they? Laundering money for Mexican drug cartels.
Want to score some pot?
And ripping off their customers, selling their customers products that they knew were bad while telling their customers that these were grade A, solid gold investments, and then taking a side bet that they'd fail. That's banks. You'd think it was the mafia.
Absolutely.
Not even the mafia are that evil and nasty and duplicitous. And the thing is, they have learned their lesson. Because all they ever get is a slight tap on the wrist and are asked politely not to do it again. And they chortle. And they go and do it again. Chris texted, hi Nick, it's all hyper-normalisation. As Richard Curtis said, it's not about getting people to believe something, it's convincing people to believe nothing. It's like an ant death spiral. I have no idea what an ant death spiral is, but it has the words ant and death in it, so I don't like it. Yeah, hypernormalization. I think that was one of Richard Curtis's films. If you've never seen a film by Richard Curtis, then you should definitely drop everything right now, I mean it, and rush to the television and dial it up. Because he's properly brilliant. But you might not want to start with hypernormalization, because I think that was one of his more recent ones, and it's sort of it's a bit hard to keep up sometimes with what he's talking about, and I found that one a bit difficult. Maybe it was just my frame of mind.
Booze.
But yeah, start with there's one called Bitter Lake. That's very good. Some of the earlier ones. Start easy and then get more complicated as it goes along. Promise me you'll do that. That's Richard Curtis. Tina texts, "Hi Nick, the long table Macron sat at was because he refused to have a Russian COVID test, just in case they got his DNA, and Putin didn't trust the French test results, hence the table. Rubbish." Oh, it's Adam Curtis. Yeah, that's right, not Richard Curtis. Idiot. Adam Curtis. Isn't Richard Curtis the guy that does all those, those gooey rom-coms? Boring. Isn't that him? The long table that Macron sat at with Rootin' Tootin' was because he refused to have a Russian COVID test just in case they got his DNA. And Putin didn't trust the French test results, hence the table. Rubbish. Putin made Macron sit at the other end of that stupidly huge table just in order to engage in a little power play. That's what that was about. God, he's like he's 5 years old. 5 years old and heavily weaponized. What could possibly go wrong? Pete says, "It strikes me that it's a perfect storm. 3 leaders desperate to increase their popularity. Putin needs to prove he's a strong man. Johnson wants to appear as a Churchillian world figure. And Biden needs to improve his ratings. The classic way to achieve that is through war." Yeah. I just can't believe that the previous incumbent in the White House didn't give it to us.
I'll bring us into war.
Despite promising over and over again. Give him chance. Give him a second chance and he'll do it. Pretty much guarantee it. Gaz tweets, "Nick, we have lost all influence. We have lost all power. We are a laughingstock on the world stage. For what sovereignty when multinationals rule?" Hey, Gaz, would you like to buy some punctuation? We've lost all influence. Yeah. We've lost all power, pretty much. We're a laughingstock on the world stage. Well, I can't imagine why that would be.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And what for, says Gaz. Sovereignty when multinationals rule? Question mark. Thrown in there somewhere, surely. Multinationals rule. Is he saying... is he saying like Chelsea rule? Like that? Probably not. And finally, from last night, Al texted, "Hi Nick, why do so many people try to excuse Putin by bringing up irrelevant past events? Ukraine is a sovereign country, and it's none of Putin's business what Ukraine decides to do about anything. Putin also recognised Ukraine and agreed with the UK and the USA in the '94 Budapest Agreement to assure of its security. The UK and the USA should really be militarily stronger about assuring Ukraine as a result of Russia's betrayal of that agreement. Perhaps the Ukrainian airspace should be protected. That's up to the experts. We are no longer interested in the opinion of experts." Haven't you heard? 0345 6060 973. Here's a call in Bow. Evan.
Hi, Nick.
Evan.
Hi. First-time caller. But
good man. Welcome along.
Hi. I thought I'd give you a bell because I'm pretty much bored out of my mind while listening and hearing all, because I've had a power cut.
A power cut?
Or the whole street. Yeah, just now, pretty much 40 minutes ago.
Well, that's bizarre.
And I thought
What's the weather like outside? Surely it isn't bucketing down.
It isn't.
No, nothing
stormy
at all.
or anything.
Right.
It's quite normal.
It's just a normal day in Bow. It sounds like you're calling me from underwater, Evan.
The signal in that
isn't
the greater.
No, it isn't. No.
Yeah, I'm near Bermondsey.
I have no idea what that means, but I would recommend moving to higher ground if I were you. Do it straight away. Don't pause for a moment. Steve emails, next week's news. Following the withdrawal of free COVID testing, it's been shown by the statistics from test results that only the rich are catching COVID. This is a great breakthrough for Johnson's government, as the poor people rejoice that the upper class people are finally getting their share. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? Thing with, I have a theory about Bodger releasing us from these constraints, and it's not a good one. As I don't think that he's doing it in our interests. I don't think that he's thought about it and thought, what would be in the best interests of the British people? I think he's thought about it and thought, what would be in the best interests of that beautiful person I see in the mirror?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, him. That carefully undone caricature that I see in the mirror. What would be best for him? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Andy texts, I hope you are okay in the storm. Yeah, I'm okay. Not better than that, or worse, just like middling. Thanks for asking. Joe says, you're getting your Zahawis and your Kwartangs mixed. Not that either of them are very good with numbers, obviously.
And 1,
2,
2,
3,
6 million.
Oh! Des emails, do you like Ant and Dec? No. I mean, I don't have a negative feeling about them because I've never really sampled their product. You know? It's like, trying to think of something else I haven't sampled that I don't really have a very strong feeling about. And I was going through alcohol. And I can't think of a single one I haven't had. Absinthe. I don't have a strong feeling about absinthe because I've not tried it. There you are. They were back tonight, says Des. Well, that's great. You know, the Saturday night, the marquee names on Saturday night used to be people that did things. There used to be, Brucey. Brucey did everything. He danced and he sang and he was a comedian and, all of that. And Tarby, he was a comic. And who's that grumpy bloke that used to play women? Les Dawson. Les Dawson. He was a comic as well. But what do Ant and Dec actually do, other than read the script that somebody else has written? They're just nice. That's where we are, isn't it? We used to enjoy the talents of people that could actually do something, and now we just enjoy the talents of people that are nice. Oh, it's like Bodger. Leave him alone. He's doing his best. God. Rona says, you had me worried when you were bigging up Richard Curtis. I was just about to switch off screaming. Screaming! No, not Richard Curtis. Adam Curtis. Let's have a call in Woolwich. Hello, Richard.
Oh, from Woolwich?
Woolwich.
Hello, sorry, I'm here, yeah. Oh, Bob Monkhouse, of course. He's the other
Bob Monkhouse, yes.
Yeah.
Bernie the Bolt. Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, you just mentioned Ant Death Spiral, and it got me running for the phone because it's a really amazing concept. And what it is, briefly, it's when obviously ants follow each other and they follow each other's scent. Ugh. And normally that goes in, they do something productive with that, but sometimes they follow each other into these little circles, and then they end up getting into this huge ant mill, and then they all suffocate and die.
Really?
Yeah.
Stupid ants. What do they want to do that for?
Yeah, but what's fascinating is humans do the same, of course, because when you get off a plane and you go running, you see someone sort of stridently walking, and you think, you just follow them instinctively. Yeah. And sometimes that works. You get to checkout, but sometimes you end up in the toilet or something, and you've got a whole bunch of people behind you, and it's called the sort of the ant mill effect.
Right.
Yeah, it's an educational program.
Well, it is, every now and again, it is educational, isn't it?
No.
Not really. Good effort. Excellent work there. Thanks a lot, Richard. That now we know. An ant death spiral. It's exactly like getting off the plane at Heathrow, apparently. I'll tell you who's good, who is actually a multi-talented entertainer, is that Bradley Walsh bloke. See, he is in the mould of your traditional Saturday night entertainer. Ant and Dec, on the other hand, but again, see, I don't really know that much about them because I haven't really watched them. But I just know that they don't, what do they do? They please people by dint of their niceness. Scott texts, in light of all the catastrophic weather causing large amounts of damage and the tensions between the Ukraine and Russia going on at the moment, Jeremy Corbyn must resign. I didn't see that coming. Jeremy Corbyn must resign.
Correct.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jezza. See what you've done? And tidy up your garden, for crying out loud. Jenny texts, I let my 9-year-old listen to your show and she loved it so much she wants a sound effect machine. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
A sound effect machine. Don't buy one of those, Jenny. It'll drive you nuts. Like, you don't want to buy her a drum machine either. Or a trampoline. And you don't want to install a swimming pool either because of the screaming. They scream and they scream and they scream. How do they manage to scream so long and so loud? How do they do it? Children, little girls, have the ability to scream longer and louder than any other than at any other point in their development. I mean, if an adult screamed like a child, they would lose their voice in about 2 minutes. But children can just scream all day long. How do they do it? Ian emails, why doesn't the Ukraine Defence Minister give the ultimatum? I thought about this myself, yeah. Yes. It was on the news, like one of the little clips on the news there. She said, no, wait a minute, I wrote it down. It was so delicious, I had to write it down. I've done actual homework, if you can believe that. One moment, please. Oh, I may have lost it already. Oh, no, here it is. It's on the floor. I filed it there for safekeeping. Yeah, our Foreign Secretary has announced that Russia is not serious about diplomacy. But as Liz the Brains Truss is our Foreign Secretary, I'd say that Britain isn't serious about diplomacy either. And on that subject, Ian emails, why doesn't the Ukraine Defence Minister give an ultimatum? Russia should shut up and go away. You know, like Gavin said once. Yeah, well, at least he's patriotic.
I just reckon we've got the very best people in this country. Much better than the French have, much better than the Belgians have, much better than the Americans have. That doesn't surprise me at all because we're a much better country than every single one
of them. Much better country than every single one of them. Oh, we're so much better. God, he used to be the Minister for Education. Can you believe that?
No.
Standards have fallen. Over the last 2 years, I'd say. About 2 years, there or thereabouts. Can't think why.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Sue emails, do you want to hear about my triple bypass root canal head transplant? Do you want to hear about my triple bypass root canal head transplant, says Sue. Sue, that's nothing. Let me tell you about my problems. Let's have a call in Hull. Hello, Charles.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Charles.
Good to be on your show again and things. Did you know the Stop the War believers have got some MPs signed up?
What, woke hippies?
Well, it's a little unbelievable. I could tell you something. This is straight from Ian Dale's LBC show.
Oh, yeah.
Shall I name some?
You what?
I'll name some. Jeremy Corbyn.
Yes.
Diane Abbott. Mm-hmm. And John McDonnell.
Right. And what they've been doing?
And they've signed up to the Stop the War because they want to stop Putin in his track.
Right. How's that working out for them?
Well, put it this way, you could have the new Bond sort of along the lines of, so, Mr. Putin, we meet again. Yeah. I'm afraid the ruse of your little hand grenade in my oyster soup did not come off or go off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Time's up. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
But anyway, excellent work there, Charles. Thanks for that. I watched that new James Bond film again, just to make sure that it was as bad as I thought it was the first time around. And it is. It's just, I don't know. I think the world's moved along since the last 3 Bonds, thereabouts. Just not very good. They look as though they've been done on the cheap. You know, there's Tom Cruise out there spending $300 million on one film and freaking out the studio because they might not make their money back. But I bet they do. I bet that you can see every dollar on that screen. But the James Bond movie just looked like a television show. A really, really long and kind of boring television program. Just went on and on and on. I can't think of anything about it apart from, what's his name? You know, that bloke from The Thing. And I hope I'm being clear. Richie texts, Richard Curtis made possibly the worst film of all time, Love Actually. So bad I watch it every Christmas to purge myself. Really. I don't think I've ever seen it. Does it have Hugh Grant in it? Oh, well, in that case, it's a no. It's a no from me. You see, if there's a film and the poster does not have a gun on it, it's not a film for blokes. It just isn't. You can tell it straight away. If there is a film and the poster doesn't have a gun on it, it is made specifically for the ladies. And I know you're probably not allowed to even say that, never mind about, to even think it, never mind about say it out loud, but it's true. It's kind of dispiriting, really, that half the world's population, it's because women watch these programs as well. Almost the entire population of the planet relaxes in front of a television or cinema screen to watch other people murder each other. That's our number one form of entertainment. Name me a major drama that is not about killing people. There isn't one. And it's usually about killing women. Or children. Or both. Or women killing children. Death, it's, we can't get enough of it. Just as long as it's happening to other people. Weird. I mean, you'd think that we'd be actually celebrating life, but I can't think of, apart from the David Attenborough show, I can't think of anything on television or in the cinema that actually celebrates life. That actually is a good story with happiness all the way through it. Happiness all the way through it. Can't think of anything. It's all about death and destruction. Well, we're about to be, we're about to see it up close and personally, no doubt. We're about to have plenty of that. Tim says, the only 70s funny presenter you mentioned who was actually funny was Les Dawson. The others were as dull as Ant and Dec. Oh, come on. I won't have that said about Brucey. Who was the other ones I mentioned? Can't remember. Brucey was all right. I mean, Brucey, it was Brucey. Everybody grew up with Brucey. People of my age. How can you not like Bruce Forsyth? Although what we used to find funny isn't necessarily very funny now. I mean, I give you Morecambe and Wise as evidence of that. There's going to be a lot of people choking on their Patem's Papirium, just at the very idea that I said that out loud. Sorry about that. I apologise.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
0345 6060 973. It's 10:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Serena Fa.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
I can't. Joanne texts, did you know that Richard Curtis wrote Mr. Bean? Wrote it? There was no dialogue. What did he write? Enters screen left and mucks about a bit. The end. Ross texts, my child wouldn't dare scream. I live by what my mum and dad used to say to me. Stop crying and screaming or I'll give you something to scream and cry for. British parenting at its best. I'm calling social services. Martin says, I watched Boris Johnson on television today and I couldn't work out if his hair was pre or post storm. Yeah, even in an emergency, he still maintains his signature style, doesn't he? Very effortfully, by the way. He doesn't leave a house and look in the mirror and think, yeah, nailed it. He as he's looking in the mirror, he makes sure that his hair is ruffled just so. 0345 6060 973. Doncaster. Hello, Tony.
Hello?
Tony.
Do you remember that table that you've mentioned a couple of times?
Yes.
With Putin sitting at it?
Putin.
Well, it turns out there's a bit of a dispute arisen about that table as to who actually made it.
Right.
And there's a Spanish company who strenuously are trying to claim the honour of making it.
Right.
Another bloke who sounds like he really did make it, who calls himself Renato Palermo, says he made that table in 1995-96. It was a big job.
Yes.
It was a special order from the Russian government. He's got letters from the Russian government congratulating him on the job.
Yeah, they said,
thank you.
In Russian.
In Russian, yeah. And it turns out it's not the biggest table he's ever made.
Really? Where's the biggest table he's ever made?
In Saudi Arabia.
Oh, well, yeah, I could have beaten you to that one. Saudi Arabia. Where else is it going to be?
Well, the one he supplied to Saudi Arabia, apparently you can sit 100 people at the table.
Right. None of them women.
Oh, no, I shouldn't think so, no. Just one other thing, Nick. Would you allow Mike and Bernie Winters into your Saturday Night Hall of Fame?
Well, let me think about that.
No.
But thanks for asking. Leanne tweets a picture of Brucey in front of a weather map. And the message overlaid is, nice to see you. To see you nice. As in Eunice. Didn't she do well? 0345 6060 973. Let's have Richmond. Hello, Claire.
Hello.
Claire.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm great, mate.
Yeah, my brother's told me not to call you.
Right, well, you should listen to your brother.
Well, I should do, really, because he knows best, but I'm older than him. Anyway, I'm a big Richard Curtis fan. I love all his films, and I thought... But you know, you said you liked him a minute ago.
I did not say
you
that
don't
I
like him.
I did never say I liked it. Name the.
Oh, you always disagree with me.
What's his best film?
Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh, God, absolutely awful. So dull.
Boring.
Four Weddings and a Funeral. That's the one that starts with swearing about 14 times, isn't it? He just keeps saying the F word over and over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know, because Richard Curtis thought it might be edgy. Got no idea. Terminal. Absolutely awful film. But thanks a lot, Claire. Listen to your brother more. He knows best. Were there swear words in there? I kind of couldn't tell. She just made a noise, but it didn't sound like any word that I'm familiar with. But like warning bells went off in my mind.
Warning!
But I didn't know which bit to dump. So if you heard something that was untoward, I apologise. Side text, what about the two Ronnies? Yes. Well, the two Ronnies, the difference with the two Ronnies and all of the others is they were real wordsmiths. And I didn't used to like it when they went and did their the soap opera thing. You know, they used to have this running thing where they were other people and there was a continual story. That was a low point for me. That was when you weren't left the room, go and make a cup of tea. But the word smithery, excellent, excellent, excellent. Bristol. Hello, John. Oh, John.
Hello?
Yes, John.
Nick Abbott.
John.
Marvellous to speak to you.
John.
Yes. Hey, I've got some... You were complaining earlier about...
Who, me?
How films, it's all guns and car chases and it's all
Well, it
rubbish.
it wasn't a complaint necessarily. It was just an observation that if a film is made for the female audience, it won't have a gun in the poster.
It's not about female or male. It's just about great pieces of art. Now, do you have a pen and paper?
No.
I'm going to give you 3 films. I recommend you 3 films to watch, and none of them have any car chases or guns or any violence.
Well, then I'm not interested in them. I want £100 million worth exploding on the screen.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Wrap your head around some beautiful, beautiful art. Right, Amélie. Right, Amélie.
Right,
French film, came out about 20 years ago. Beautiful, the most exquisite film.
I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it wonderful?
Awful.
No, it is one of the most wonderful films ever made.
A love story, boring,
Every
snoring.
frame is a work of art.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Next.
Cinema Paradiso. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it went on too long. It was about a 3-hour movie. They could have cut that in half.
Oh man, where is your soul?
And now you're going to say Manon des Sources.
Well, you could have that, or you could have one of those, or you could have Sideways. Very funny film.
Thing about drinking wine.
Booze.
Have you seen Sideways?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Is this the same question again? Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. But thanks for the suggestion, John. I haven't written them down, and I've forgotten every single thing that you said. Almost the moment that you said it. Appreciate it. Roger texts, if Putin saw Jezza Corbyn, Diane Abbott and John McDonnell standing in his way, it would stop him in his tracks. What does that mean? What does that mean? Ross says, Breaking Bad, not a single woman killed through 7 series, all men. Right. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Killing. It's often killing women on television. TV films are like dramas, almost always about killing women or children. And if not, then it's at a pinch, it's killing men. But there's always killing. It's what the human race likes to look at to relax of an evening. Other people killing each other. Doesn't say very much that's positive about us, does it? Side text, what about the 2 Ronnies? Yeah, I've said that. Sue says, does Vlad think that countries will be queuing up to trade with him after his recent escapades? Maybe he should read How to Make Friends and Influence People. Right. Okay, good thought there. Roy says, the thing with Morecambe and Wise is that they were of their time, which was Saturday nights in the 1970s. I don't find them funny now at all, I'm afraid, but I love Laurel and Hardy just as much as I used to, maybe more. That's right. It's funny, isn't it? Well, it isn't funny. The things that we used to be amused by in the 1970s are just, they're not really funny anymore. But you go back further than that, and Laurel and Hardy will always, always, always be funny. Without really doing anything very much. Just looks to the camera can have you convulsing with laughter. And the same gags over and over again. Like they'll both try and walk through the same door at the same time and get stuck. Or their hats fall off and they put on the wrong one. Just stuff like that. And you know it's coming, and it's funnier because you know it's coming. It is weird that maybe it's... I don't know why. Maybe slapstick is timeless. Probably it's a bit of that. But they weren't just slapstick. You just... it's impossible not to feel really, really positively about Laurel and Hardy. And that film that they did about them, which I avoided for the longest time, with that English bloke in it. What's his name? I just didn't want to see it because I thought I'll just be watching this thinking they're not Laurel and Hardy. I won't be able to get past that. But you absolutely can, and it's a very, very good film. If you're into Laurel and Hardy, and who isn't really? It's like saying if somebody says I don't like Laurel and Hardy, that's like saying I don't like Tom and Jerry, or I don't like jazz. It's a preposterous thing to say. Don't even think it. But that is a good film. You should try that. And you can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. By the way, one of the 3 podcasts that I do is with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
And we do a podcast in which we try to help people, as difficult as that might be to believe. We actually do try to help people every now and again, in between an enormous amount of just gassing on and on and on and laughing like hyenas. It is amusing, I can assure you of that. And if you wish to be amused and you've got an hour, then it'll be right up your alley. We've done over 100 of them. There's over 100 hours of delightful amusements with me and Carol. The podcast is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? Because that's the idea. You give us a problem and we solve it. And if you want us to have a bash at your issue, send it to the following address: nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare for a certain amount of satisfaction. And ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol?
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
So I was just talking about the new communication that is about to come our way about the dropping all of the rules about COVID. And I have my suspicions about this. The free COVID tests and self-isolation rules must continue, NHS leaders said in a last-ditch attempt to persuade Bodger Johnson against dropping all remaining restrictions next week. All remaining restrictions are going to be dropped next week, so says Bodger Johnson. Matthew Taylor, out of the NHS Confederation, an organisation that represents leaders across the health service, warned uncertainty over long-term immunity from vaccines and previous infection and the risk of future variants means it's still too early to drop the final measures. He urged ministers that now is not the time to take risks. I feel that we're in like a horror film, and the monster has been grazed and the heroes of the film assume that the monster is dead. But there's 15 minutes left of the film to run, and that monster isn't dead yet. Calling for the brakes to be slammed onto Number 10's Living with COVID plans, Matthew Taylor, Chief Executive of NHS Confederation, said, "The government cannot wave a magic wand and pretend the threat has disappeared entirely." He said the move to exit the acute phase of the pandemic must not be driven by political expediency. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Bodger is throwing absolutely everything at us to try and make us forget about the parties and the cash for honours and the billions wasted and the billions disappeared and the billions that have coincidentally ended up in the pockets of mates and relations and donors and the decimation of law and order and the defunding of the NHS and, everything that's happened under their watch for the past 11 years. Bodge.
I can't comment on that.
It's simple. It's a cost-benefit analysis. If he calls the virus rules off early and everything goes well, he can claim he's a hero. If it goes badly, well, it's just a lot more dead people, and it's likely not to be anybody he knows, so who cares? There's no downside for him. It's like gambling with other people's money, and he gets to keep the wins, but we get to pay for the losses. It's just that his way, he isn't gambling with money, he's gambling with lives. But, they're other people's lives, so no problem. Other healthcare leaders urged the PM to reconsider his plans, saying that he should ease the last restrictions gradually. But there's no heroism in gradually. He wants to announce it in a fanfare, possibly with extra flags. We will not wear masks on the buses, and we will not wear them in shops, and nor will we test and trace, and we will never surrender to the illness. Unless we do, and then we're all stuffed. Bodger's set to finalise his blueprint to live with COVID, which will be checked over by ministers tomorrow, before being announced on Monday, when Parliament returns from its jolly holidays. Well, a couple of things there. First of all, blueprint? They've got a blueprint? There's a strategy.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
And that sounds like a well-thought-out plan, doesn't it? A blueprint. Rather than just a desperate throw of the dice to see if he can get us to think good things about the dear leader again. And second, ministers are going to check it over? Really? Which ones? the Brains Truss, Super Sajman Jav, Smug.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
One more time.
I don't know anything.
And again.
I don't know anything.
We're doomed. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Isle of Wight. Billy.
Oh, hello, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. There was news about the Isle of Wight today. Some councillor or a council made an announcement about the storm and said it's changed its mind, but that's that all women are liable to do that, or words to that effect.
Oh, you're joking, aren't you? I was going to say, I thought you were going to talk about the fact that on the Needles we had it at 125 miles an hour.
Yeah. But the storm went away again, or the storm went away and it's going to come back again. So it has, in the words of that Isle of Wight official, it has changed its mind. You know, like women are prone to do. That's what he said.
Oh God!
And
you know what? That doesn't.
I thought, how Isle of Wight does that sound?
Oh, you know what, Nick? I'm from the Isle of Wight, and I don't know if you remember. I've spoken to you a couple of times about the Isle of Wight. You probably don't remember because I know you take so many calls. But but I've said before on a number of occasions just how backwards we are. It's just it's ridiculous. I mean, that doesn't help our case at all.
No.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was some representative for tourism. Knowing the Isle of Wight. I mean,
I went to the Isle of Wight once and I got on a bus. By the way, don't go to the Isle of Wight and rely on the public transport system because it's virtually non-existent. But I was foolish enough to do that. And so I get off the ferry, risking my life to get off the ferry because they're not used to people getting on and off as just passengers. Everybody drives on and drives off. And so I'm squeezing in between all of these parked cars with their engines running on a rocking boat, thinking, and there didn't seem to be any way out. And so I thought, I'm going to die on this car deck of this ferry because, A, no one can see me because there are lorries and there didn't seem to be any way for a person on foot to get off that thing alive. So I really did think that I was going to die. I just thought this is the most dangerous situation I've ever been in my life. And so you get off the ferry and get on the bus, and of course you've got to have right change. Of course you have. But credit cards. Are you joking?
There's no such thing as plastic over there, Nick.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I asked him how much it was, and he said $2 bob.
No.
Yeah. And I looked at him,
goodness.
somewhat confused. Because I can't remember what $2 bob is. I mean, that's going back to the 1970s. $2 bob.
Well, when I used to work in a shop, some bloke came up to me and he said he was paying for his stuff, and he said, "I'll give you free." And I sort of went, "What?"
I think you're suffering from Isle of Wight mobile phone reception there, Billy. We're losing every other word. Never mind, eh? So.
Oh, goodness, that's not good. Can you hear me okay now? Or
yes, I can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking on a landline, Nick. I know how much you hate. I even said to your.
Yeah, see, every other word just disappears. Get to higher ground or leave the Isle of Wight while you still can. Thanks a lot, Billy. 0345 6060 973. Mobile phone technology, it just hasn't got to the point where you can use them as phones. I mean, what is that about? Why not? Why has it taken this long? Everybody's got one. I mean, okay, people don't really use phones anymore because, bizarrely, the entire human race has decided that what we really, really like to do when we're not watching people killing each other on television is to type. I mean, you couldn't make it up. Typing is our favourite thing to do in the whole wide world, especially kids. Oh my God! You try to stop a kid typing on their mobile phone, and they'll have an emotional response. They'll just freak out. Don't even think about trying to stop a child typing. It's their absolute favourite thing to do in the whole wide world. But use it as a phone? No, apparently not. I mean, for crying out loud, mobile phones cost £1,000. You can spend more than that on a mobile phone, and you still can't use it as a phone. Not that I'm complaining about it.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Kay emails, when do we start witnessing levelling up? I still have less than £5 in my account for more than 99% of each month. Yeah, well, I think that's you levelled up there, Kay. You're welcome. Brentford. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Nick.
Stuart.
Hi. I don't know if you like this one. Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a whole one.
Oh, come on. I love it. My girlfriend's bought me teddies and that at Christmas of Bellboy and Rodney. I'm a bit of a fanatic.
Right.
Yeah, but I thought that one shouldn't be left out. That's all got to do. David Jason a bit of justice.
Right. You want to step into the new millennium, Stuart. You never know. You might like it. All right. Thanks a lot, mate. Please, pretty pleased with sugar on top. Stop sending me names on Twitter and so on of people that you used to enjoy watching in the 1970s. Freddie Parrot-Faced Davis was one that just came in. If my life depended on it, I wouldn't be able to remember what he did. Jane texts, "The Worm That Turned" was the continuing story on the Two Ronnies, and I agree. Cuppa time, says Jane. That's right, The Worm That Turned. Yeah, the least amusing part of that amusing show. Tab says, "Have you seen the film Delicatessen? It is French and groovy about a hotel post-apocalypse type thing." Well, don't tell us. Very good about food shortage, said Tab. No, I have not seen it. I don't object to them, and some of the best films I've ever seen have been with subtitles. But there's just that initial resistance about putting on something with subtitles. You know, when you're a couple of beverages in, booze, and you're sitting in front of the TV and you're selecting your entertainment for the evening, I always think, oh, do I actually want to sit here and read? Ugh, no thanks. And so I miss a lot of things that are actually great because I don't want to sit there reading all night long. Reading is very bad for your eyes. Not a lot of people know that. It's the movement from left to right. It wears them out. It's a fact. It's a medical fact. You should read less for the benefit of your health, and that is the official position of LBC. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
On your radio, on Global. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Oh, hello.
Hello, boys.
0345 6060 973. So is this the same storm? And if so, how's it gone away and is going to come back again? What's that about? Or is it a different storm? And if it's a different storm, what's its name? And is it in the phone book? And anybody under the age of 40 is going, "What's a phone book, Grandad?" Grandad? Boy, you little. Tab says, and I read that, Adrian emails, "There is just one film that Richard Curtis has done that is good, and that's The Boat That Rocked, about pirate radio in the 1960s. And when are you going on Celebrity Chase?" Well, I think the word there that would exclude me would be celebrity. I think the Boat That Rocked. I may have tried to watch that film, but I have the same opinion as all of the other films in Richard Curtis' oeuvre. Boring. Not for me. Regent's Park, Vance.
Hi, Nick. Thank you, as usual, for keeping us all sane and entertained.
Yes.
Nick, I'm not a Brexiteer, far from it, okay? I wanted to remain, but I was interested to find out this week that there is one benefit from Brexit that we're registering, especially in London.
Oh, yes.
Italian chefs like, let me see, Matteo Bellini, Francesco Mattei, they have found that since Brexit, it's much more costly to import, basic food produce from Italy.
Yeah.
So they've been trying to source their food products, their basic products, in UK, and it's working really well.
Like what? What kind of food products are we talking about? Mozzarella?
Well, like basil, like Basil. Francesco, he's got 3 Italian restaurants in central London, and he gets all his basil now from a hydroponic farm underneath the Elephant and Castle.
Oh, I see. A hydroponic farm, yeah.
Want
to score some pot?
And he says, because it's not grown on soil but grown in mineral water, it's consistent. Yeah. The quality is consistent all year round.
And it's a smooth smoke, yeah.
That's right. But, this is quite interesting that London chefs, Italian London chefs, are actually saying that they use British produce better than Italian. I never thought I'd hear an Italian saying that. Did you?
Well, I'm all for that eating locally thing, unless you're living in London, and then I'd prefer the food to come from a little further away. I mean, do you actually want to eat something that was grown in London? No. Not really? No.
Not necessarily, but I thought that would be, of interest to you anyway.
Yeah. OK, excellent work. Thanks a lot there, Vance. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, we can get mozzarella that was made from cow squirt in this country, or wherever it comes from. It comes from buffaloes, doesn't it? I don't care what it comes from, as long as you put it on a pizza. Archie says, your reference to wordsmithery and our recent success at the Olympics. We've had a success at the Olympics. At the Olympics, we've had a success. I've watched so little of it. I watched the half-pipe final, which was very good. What else? I saw a bit of the grand slalom. Almost nothing at all. Terrible, really. All that effort that they were going to, and I've paid almost no attention whatsoever. Anyway, your reference to wordsmithery and our recent success at the Olympics led me to remember Linda Smith's definition of curling: housework on ice. She was one very funny lady and is much missed, says Archie. Yes, well, they do the same work as a house person. I almost said housewife. Uh-oh. Go to jail. Go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. They do the same work as a house person, but on skates and backwards. Max says Laurel and Hardy are always funny, probably because they came along towards the end of the silent film era, and when visual comedy was given great thought, much more probably than later talking comedy. Well, I think talking comedy actually requires more thought than visual comedy, surely. I would suggest that visual comedy requires a certain talent, certain ability. You've got to have timing, and you've got to, do the gags right. But talking comedy takes longer to write. I mean, how much effort did it actually take to write a Laurel and Hardy script? Oliver Hardy comes on, looks at the camera, and fiddles with his tie. It doesn't sound like it would be funny, but it is. Jane says Steve Coogan's portrayal of Stan Laurel is brilliant. Yes, it is. Now, I've not seen Steve Coogan in anything else, including that thing where he's a DJ. I haven't actually seen that. But he is really good in that Laurel and Hardy film, whatever it's called. Is it called Laurel and Hardy? There's Stan and Ollie or something of that order. Can't remember, but it's the only one that he's playing Stan Laurel in. So if you find it on the World Wide Web, then it's that one. Catherine texts, what about Tommy Cooper? I just had to look at him and I cracked up. Yes, well, he was one of those people that didn't really have to do anything and be funny. He could come on stage and just go, oh, and people would be guffawing. I'm laughing just thinking about it. There you are, you see. Comedy. But I can't talk about this all night long. Stop emailing me things about comedies that we used to enjoy, because that's not what this is. I'll talk about World War III in a minute. That'll upset you. Joe emails, got a question for the front benches of government and Labour. What would be the film for Tory and one of Labour? Right, I think I get what you're saying. What would be a Tory film and what would be a Labour film? There you are. There's something for you to cogitate over. Go fetch that one, if you please. What else? How many have I got just before I start getting into it, thinking I'll get to the end of it and then I'll get on to something else? But there's too many. Too many. How do these people get my number? Keith texts, I maintain Flash Gordon to be the greatest film ever made due to it containing the perfect amount of violence for all ages. Well, I saw it once when Pick Up a Penguin. Probably when it came out. I don't remember anything about it other than the Queen song.
Rock and roll!
But that's probably not where I remember it from. Probably just you hear it on the radio all the time. Flash. Ah. D texts. It was almost like they were in the studio with me playing that song, wasn't it?
No.
Uncanny. D texts. I'm surprised you're surprised that so many dramas feature death. After all, the contemplation of death is highly emotionally charged. I don't think you'd enjoy a drama about a contented couple sitting down for a relaxing evening meal. You'd be bored out of your mind. As for James Bond, how about revitalising the franchise with a female Bond? No. And furthermore... No. James Bond's not a woman. I would encourage a female James Bond-like character in a film. Well, there have been people like that. There have been films like that. Didn't Angelina Jolie do one? Something I didn't see it, but I'm sure she did one. But no, James Bond is James Bond. He's not June Bond. Boris is doing it again, says Mike, ignoring the scientists, the big mistake at the end of every disaster movie. Or at the beginning, rather, of every disaster movie. Yes, the big mistake at the beginning of every disaster movie is ignore the scientists. And he's doing it again. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Bodge. You have actually delighted us enough. I think the sort of momentum to get him out has dissipated a bit, which must be his little scheme. I bet he made the calculation that if he just strings it out long enough, we will get bored and we'll want to talk about something else. And it's happened. That's the exact way in which it's just unfolded. Because Parliament went away. They've been on holidays. Did you know that? How we've managed to get along without them, I don't know. It's almost as though we don't need them. I mean, Smug is looking to make some savings. Did you see what he said the other day? Oh, my God. That bloke. Smug says he wants to cut at least 65,000 civil servants' jobs over the next 3 years. Why? Because he's doing us a favour. Smug recently appointed as Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency. He said the very least he wanted to reduce the number of civil servants by was from 470,000 full-time staff to below 425,000, the size of Whitehall before the pandemic, he said. And actually, it was probably the size of the civil service before Brexit. But don't take my word for it. Brexit meant new recruits were needed to fill roles managing the raft of projects to both support the exit negotiations and manage the legislation and transition to the new arrangements. You know, or that mountain of red tape we were promised would disappear. How's that gone, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Yet former Department for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Permanent Secretary Dame Clara Moriarty said, "We grew in size because we had lots of additional work to do. Brexit was a recruiting manager's dream. It was a dream." And the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs was not alone. By September 2020, the civil service had grown, largely as a result of Brexit, to over 430,000 full-time employees, ending up around 50,000 more than had been envisaged by the government before the result of the referendum. Or it might have been envisaged by the government if they thought about it for 10 seconds. So if we hadn't had Brexit, the number of staff taken on to handle the virus would not have increased the number at all. It's Brexit that swelled the ranks of the civil service, and then the virus did it again, but Smug doesn't mention Brexit because he's the hapless oaf tasked with coming up with some headline that makes it look like Brexit was a good idea. How's that going, by the way?
Dreadful.
As well as reviewing the powers and staffing of Quangos, the former Leader of the Commons said he would personally review every new vacant post to see if it should be cut. I mean, he'll be peering over his rimless spectacles at something he has no clue about, like some middle management drone trying to cut costs and just firing everyone whose name begins with a vowel. Smug said every person working for the civil service has to be paid for by taxpayers, so you've got to think, is this providing value? Is it doing something that needs to be done? Is it doing it in the most efficient way? Smug told The Times. Am I hallucinating or is this real life? He has got to be kidding. Can he hear himself? Or is that the top-level gaslighting for which this regime has become famous? Value for money? They spent £37 billion of our money on a phone app that doesn't work. They spent £10 billion on PPE kit that was unusable. He said, we should be saying to ourselves every day, are we making the lives of the British people better? Well, let's ask that question.
No.
Is the answer. But to be fair, he didn't say which British people making the lives of British people better. He didn't say which ones. I'm sure his life has got better. He said, and do we make them better by employing large numbers of civil servants? The answer is probably no, because the British public helps pay for them. Like he's remotely interested in that. You know, we poor dopes who pay taxes also pay for you, Jacob Smug, you insufferable prig. We have employed a man who's already stinking rich on a salary of over 80,000 a year, plus the 67 grand for being in the cabinet, plus the £250,000 they get for expenses. I mean, we could save getting on for £1 million a year just by firing that Third Reich swizzle stick. Wouldn't that be good value for money?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Yes, your call is important to us. Ben in Brighton. Wait a minute. One moment, please. There you are.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Ben.
Well, it occurred to me, and as I said to your researcher, I'm not the most educated man in the world, but it did occur to me that the only places where wars have taken place sort of post the EU have been places where the EU didn't exist. In other words, where the former Yugoslavia, Northern Ireland is now kicking off again now that we've left the EU, and of course, like parts of Europe, like Ukraine. And I think that wonderful idea that Churchill had. My grandfather was a war hero, and he was a huge admirer of Churchill, and he won the George Cross, and he believed in the United States of Europe, which Churchill actually I think said. And I think that we are leaving something hugely important behind. I mean, we were an important influence in Europe, and now we're no longer an important influence.
Wrong tense there, Ben. Are leaving, have left.
We have left. I do apologise. Yes, we have left, and I find it deeply depressing. Like I say, I'm not an educated man, but I am a man that cares deeply about peace in the world. And I think that if we have no influence any longer, and I think that if we look at any country that's not involved with the EU, they are subject to all kinds of threats from all kinds of horrible people like Mr. Putin.
Ben, you have to accept that we lost. Get over it. Thanks for that, mate. Cheer up. It might never... Oh, no, that's right. It already has. UK voters did not understand what they were voting for when they backed Brexit in 2016. So said the European Parliament.
What?
Yeah. The EU. You know, remember the EU, don't you?
No!
Yes, that's them. The European Parliament on Wednesday said that UK voters did not understand what they were voting for when they backed Brexit in 2016. Correct Amundo. In a report on the Article 50 process, which allows members to leave, MEPs suggested that they could have swung the vote for Remain if they had campaigned and warned the often misled British voters of the risks of leaving. The report said British citizens had scant knowledge about the European Union and were not adequately informed about the far-reaching consequences of the decision to leave the Union. They said citizens were never given a clear picture of the relationship that their country would have with the EU once it left, and were often misled about the implications of the withdrawal, particularly as regards Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland. Arr, arr, arr. And I'd say completely correct in every respect. And you know it's correct because even now furious Brexiters are still clueless about what it is they've actually won, which is why they're so angry still. They yell their outrage down the phone when someone like me or James O'Brien points out the obvious to them, that they did not know what they were voting for if they can't identify any positives that have materialised since we left. I mean, if they knew what they were voting for, they voted for being poorer, having to follow EU rules that we don't have a say in, having our holidays made more difficult, ruining businesses that rely on selling to our neighbours, narrowing our opportunities, restricting our freedoms, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, if they genuinely knew that that's what they were voting for, then they all need their heads examined. Maybe they could get a bulk discount rate at a head examination centre. MEPs regretted what they said was the restraint and limited engagement of the European Parliament and its committees in the run-up to the UK referendum, saying that it had left UK citizens without full access to information on the functioning of the EU and the implications of withdrawal. Yeah, and so we still get people saying that the EU is a socialist dictatorship that wants to control the shape of our bananas. I bet there's people bashing my number into their phone right now, want to scream that information down the phone at me. MEP said misinformation had influenced the UK's vote to leave. Misinformation. Liar! Say it like it is. Lies. Lies had influenced the UK's vote to leave and warned the future referendums were at risk of disinformation, foreign interference and funding irregularities. Yeah, that's right. Step forward and take a bow. Russia. And the few billionaire foreigners who are trying to take over the world like a more boring James Bond villain. I mean, it's the same people. They gave us Brexit, they gave us Boris Johnson, they gave us Donald Trump, the tangerine powder puff president.
Don't be rude.
The report said Brussels had achieved its key aims in the Brexit talks through EU unity in the face of a British rejection of the obligations linked to EU membership. It praised the bloc for swiftly identifying its objectives of securing the financial settlement or Brexit bill and protecting the rights of citizens and the circumstances of Ireland. Yeah, the EU got what they wanted in the negotiations. In contrast, it attacked the UK government for failing to plan for Brexit, which it said raised the spectre of no deal. They said the political and economic consequences of the decision to leave the Union are significant. These were not genuinely and fully assessed by the UK prior to its decision to withdraw. And ever since, we've been trying to fit the results into the notion that that's what we were after. And there's the risible image of the preposterous smug asking readers of The Sun what he should do as Minister for finding Brexit bonuses. I mean, you'd think we wouldn't have to appoint someone to search them out. You'd think that they'd be so visible with the naked eye from the International Space Station you'd be able to see them. And so he goes peering into other people's lives, like at the docks and the civil service, and he just waves a bony finger at a few things and said, well, we don't need those, do we? Except he wouldn't say it like that. Like that. You know, as though he's got any idea what he's talking about. He went wafting about in Felixstowe and announced that we don't need tuna from Thailand or any other of our foods tested for quality. He said, scrap all the testing we do now, just test, say, 1%, a number he just plucked out of the air. That'll do. This is the brand new dawn of our post-Brexit opportunities beckoning. Food that we just trust the seller says is fit for consumption. I mean, if you were selling food to Europe and the EU tested 25% of it and we tested 1%, which market would you send your worst stuff to, knowing that it would probably not get caught? And of course that's just the tip of the iceberg. What this lot are really after is to rip up anything that benefits the people over profit. Labour laws, the right to fire at will, the right to a decent wage, the right to safe products, the right to rivers without raw sewage in it. It's also fantastically evil. It's hard to believe that people will fall for it. But they will, because it's delivered in a superior cod aristocratic accent, and we've all taken sides. So that if Smug and Bodger says it's good, then their cult fans will welcome it warmly, even if they know it's against their interests. They'll brand anyone who wants to keep labour laws and decent wages and poisons off our plates and rivers as woke or socialist, and that'll be the end of it. The wall will go up. No further views or opinions will be allowed in. The stupidification of the nation continues apace. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
And in response to all of this, a UK government spokesmodel said, "The British people voted to leave the European Union, and this government delivered on that result. We will go further and faster to deliver on the promise of Brexit and take advantage of the enormous potential that our new freedoms bring." Which sounds a lot like, "Don't question us, peasant." It is actually just repeating the last email that went round. I've heard that same phrase over and over again. We will go further and faster to deliver on the promise of blah, blah, blah. The British people voted to leave the European Union, and this government has delivered on that result. No, they haven't. I mean, they can't even be bothered to change the script. This lot won for themselves personally. We, all of us, lost. Even though some people can't admit it to themselves. Anything other than that is painted as sour grapes by those that lied to get us to help them help themselves. What a state, eh? Never mind, eh? It's just life. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No! I should mention that this show gets squirted up the internet as a podcast. And it's available almost the moment that it ends, apart from last night's, which isn't. But I am assured that it will be tonight. So you'll get two for the price of one. It's a twofer. The deal is that we take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to, you'll use less electricity, and you won't have to sell a kidney to pay your fuel bill. You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's called Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. It's available on an internet near you. If you put Global Player up your phone, then I think you'll find on that app there is enough to amuse you from now till the end of time. All the stations that we do, I'll list them for you, shall I?
No.
Okay. Capital and Heart and Chill.
Groovy.
And Smooth.
Yowza.